Hello, ladies.
Is everyone in from the waiting room? Yes? Yeah. Okay, good evening and welcome. Welcome to PWN Nice Côte d'Azur, our very first virtual business expo, which is the aim for sharing tips, expertise from a lot of our professionals that are along the Riviera. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes just to introduce PWN to you. Those of you that aren't familiar with our network, we're not just a local network, we're actually a global network, and we're here to help pull people together, to share, to connect. That's knowledge and skills, but most importantly, networking, and networking with professionals from not just here, but around the globe. And lots of feedback we have from our members is that they just like the fact that knowing that they're sharing with like-minded people. There's lots of expats here, so we have different cultures, different languages that share a sense of belonging. I myself joined PWN originally around 15 years ago when I was in the UK with the purpose of building a network here because I knew I wanted to be here. And it certainly did that for me. And it's very inspiring and motivational to be actually connected and to be able to sort of link with people to discuss any challenges or career aspects. So really very diverse. We've very much adapted to the pandemic this year, and we've really launched sort of events quite quickly from the lockdown. Prior to lockdown, we're very active with parties, celebrations, lunches, roundtable discussions, presentations, a whole host of events that we always have laid on for our members. And that hasn't stopped. We reacted very quickly and listened to our members and actually put on some podcast series that were hosted by Serena and monthly webinars, which are still continuing. We have 2 webinars coming up in October, and we can see down there the range that we've had. We've had about 8 or 9 professionals that have shared with us their expertise, and for an hour they introduce sort of really very innovative topics for our members. Our next one coming up is around how we sort of gain courage. And the next one after that is how we do business with the French. So a mix of both practical and creative webinars. And one of the most value-added parts of our membership is our mentoring program, where members can join the mentoring program and they will receive a mentor for the duration of their membership, and they can work towards improving their career aspirations, professional goals, and whatever it is. They're supported with professional mentors that we have on our network. This is our team. This is our team of volunteers, our board and volunteers. We're here to support all our members. I've been acting president for a few months until the next AGM in February, when somebody will hopefully put themselves forward to take on the role. But my main role has also been VP of mentoring. And you'll see here, everyone is here tonight that's on here, and we all have our roles, but we all work together in the best interests of our members and also have fun. You know, it's a nice team, and we're always here to listen to your views and to hear from you what you want on your network. So a big thank you to the team. This idea for the Business Expo started in one of our board meetings, which Amanda suggested. And it's gone right through over the last couple of months, right through to execution today. So we're very excited that we're going to listen to a lot of these people that Amanda's been in touch with and connected with. So more information, the contacts, which is our website and our contact email. So I won't eat into any more of the time. I'm going to hand over to Amanda, who's going to introduce the format and also our speakers for the Expo. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. So yes, we've got these 3 blocks of 3 speakers, one of our corporate speakers in each block and 2 small business members. So it's quick speed inspiration. So we're going to be doing this quickly, so I won't waste time. Handing off to our first speaker, who is Sonda Riches, who's from edX. She's the Global MBA Program Director from there and an active member of PWN for a long time. And she's going to be talking about top tips on employability and executive education. Sonda, over to you. You're on mute. Sonda, just come off mute. There you go. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I have some other things on my screen, so not always easy to see. So thanks for that. Well, welcome everyone. I'm very excited and happy, but a little bit nervous to be the very first one. I've got my timer on. I'm supposed to stick to 5 minutes. So the topic for me today that I wanted to share with you, my top tips, was on employability and executive education. And let me just start with a quick, let's look at the context of the world right now. And probably many of you have heard by now a term that's been coined since 1987 by Warren Bennis and Bernanus, that's called VUCA. So volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, or VUCA. And we say right now we live in a VUCA world. We've been saying that since 1987. So it's not old, but basically what it means is, hey, it's getting crazy out there. What are we going to do about it? and I wanted to focus my talk today and my top tips really around what can we do about it from an employability and executive education point of view. You know, obviously I come from a business school, as you see behind me, edX Business School. It's right here in the region of Nice. And so with PWN Nice, we are, we've been partners with PWN Nice for the last, I think it's been 6 years. We offer a scholarship to PWN members who would like to complete their MBA here at edX. Worth some 8,800 euros. So it's quite a great opportunity if you're interested in doing an MBA. It's our contribution to helping women reach leadership positions and gain leadership skills to advance in their careers. But let me go into a little bit more in terms of top tips. So we promised you some top tips, and I'm going to start with the first one. In this very volatile, uncertain, changing, complex, and ambiguous world, where the pace of technology is ever changing and speeding up, I'd say the first tip is to learn, learn, learn. That's one tip, 3 times learn. But the importance there is to never stop learning. We have a tendency in moments of recession or downturns, or moments when we're a bit afraid for our jobs or for our businesses, if you're an entrepreneur, to kind of focus on the matter at hand. And we forget that we constantly have to be learning, expanding our knowledge, and growing in our career. So that would be the first tip that I would say, is never stop learning. Find ways to learn, whether that's through executive education or through taking on new projects, mentoring, or any other ways that you can find to increase your skill set. Second tip would be challenge yourself. Go for stretch projects. Do things that you haven't done before. This is the time to do it. You know, there's a massive crisis in most businesses and in most organizations right now, and everyone's looking for solutions, and we're not necessarily looking for expert solutions. We're looking for sometimes quick fixes, sometimes creative points of view. So challenge yourself to come up with some solutions to some difficult problems. Work with other people, but rise to that challenge. If there's a great time to do that, that's now. The third tip I'd say would be to grow your skills, so your competencies. Use the time during this pandemic to take online courses, to sign up for executive education, to take that degree you always wanted to do, to up your level in terms of your qualifications, and whatever they may be. And then finally, to curate your employability. So thinking beyond this pandemic, thinking beyond today to the future. How will you curate your employability so that no matter what happens in this crazy world, you still remain employable? So one of the things I wanted to do was just quickly share with you and I see if I can do this in a second. I think I can share my screen. I have to find out how to do that. There we go. I just wanted to show you an example of executive education here at edX. So if you go onto the edX.edu website, can you see that now?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay. And you go in there and you'll see on here, executive education sounds very pompous, but basically what that means is for people who are already working. I'm almost done. People who are already working, and you'll see a whole portfolio of different programs here for every single level of individual and business. So you go from the Global MBA that I mentioned, which is a long full-time program, very intense and transformational, that you can do taking 1 year out of work, so it's a really full time, or executive MBA, which you can do the same objectives, but in a short, while you're working. And then a whole series of shorter, more targeted programs that you can do depending on your needs. So I'd recommend you go and have a look at some of that. I think that's where you'll find the program that fits for you, online, offline, short, long, open, customized for your company. Think about how you can increase skills and learning, and have a look at the edX website. And then to conclude, I'd just say, I'd like to point out probably one of my favorite career approaches, and it was coined by John Gardner. It's about repotting your plant. You know, when you have a plant and it gets a little bit, it grows nicely, but at some point it stops growing because the pot is too small. The roots can't expand, there's not enough soil, not enough nutrients, and so the plant starts to either stop growing or look a little less lavish, and it's looking a little bit unhealthy. So you need to pull that plant out, get a bigger pot, put in more soil, more nutrients, and then you'll see it will flourish again. And exactly the same thing you need to be doing with your careers, with your skills, with your profile, to remain employable and to keep on learning, because in this world today, you have to remain a student your whole life. And I'll end on that. So thanks for that. And I hope I'm on time.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And I really love that analogy of repotting the plant. I'll keep that in my mind now. So moving on to Karen Green, who is our next speaker. She's got her fingers in many different pies, but today she's wearing her Pitch Perfect Live hat as a business growth mentor. And as an expert in negotiation, she's written an ebook on it. And she's going to be talking about never split the difference, 3 ways to enhance your life through better negotiation. So Karen, over to you.
Thank you, Amanda. Am I shared?
You are shared.
I'm shared. Okay, that's good. Not quite sure how I go on to the next one, but anyway, thank you. Yes, my name's Karen Green. I run a business called Food Mentor, and I work with food entrepreneurs and also non-food entrepreneurs now, which is really exciting, moving into a broader piece. And I want to give you 3 top tips. One might be a bit controversial, the other 2 probably more what you've heard of before, about how to enhance your life through better negotiation. We all negotiate, I think, from probably an early age, actually, when we're negotiating to get our own way as children, negotiating to buy a car, negotiating with our teenagers to get them to go to school or to come home on time. We're all negotiating. So what are the 3 things that we can do to actually make this a bit easier? As I say, I got down there. So who's had this experience before? I have 2 children. They're 22 and 24 now, but certainly my older one still likes to go through Carrefour and pick things out and want to put them in the basket, and I have to say no. And the first challenge, I think, for every negotiation is building rapport. So what we need to do is to think about areas of how that person will relate to us, because people buy from people. People work better with people that they think are like them. So one of the things that you can do is kind of matching behavior. So if somebody is sitting in a certain way, you can match their style, you can match their style of speech. And even potentially, you know, if you're in the supermarket with the tiddly toddler, you could scream as much as they do, which would probably attract quite a lot of attention, but it will work really well, because I have tried it, but probably not in the supermarket. So yes, my first suggestion is build rapport. So when you're starting a negotiation, start on that basis. The second part is related to that, and it's about building trust. So I love this little photo around the cats and the swans negotiating. So the cats are going, have you bought the fish? And the swans are like, well, show us your bread first. And I think that's all around trust. And one of the things I teach all of my clients is actually not to go first with a negotiation, because actually, if you start with your opening offer, you might actually end up way off. So for example, if you were negotiating a salary increase and you really want £500 or euros, and your manager has said, well, in his head's got €1,000, if you go first with 500, they're like, thank you very much. And I always find it difficult if I get into a negotiation and someone agrees to my price. I always think I've gone too low. But building trust is really important, that somebody knows that you are actually going to be on their side and you are actually interested in their well-being as well as your own, which kind of leads to the third, which is a more controversial tip, I think, and I'm going to focus on that, which is around compromise. So I know we have got some gentlemen on here, but I have chosen ladies' shoes, but this works just as well. So if you imagine you're going out to a party and you have two choices of shoes, and you ask your partner or your friend or whoever you're going out with to say, which shoes do you like? And you love the blue ones and they love the red ones. And you have a chat about it, and they're really emphatic about red and you're really emphatic about blue. What's the compromise? Well, one compromise could actually be wearing one of each, which looks a bit daft. Having said that, I did go on when I was looking for this photo and discover actually wearing odd shoes is really fashionable at the moment. So I didn't know that, but anyway, I'm clearly not very fashionable up in the hills. So compromise doesn't always work. And if you do compromise, and we've all been taught things like win-win, don't split the difference, but if you compromise, you can end up in a situation where you both end up resenting the result. But if you've built the rapport and you've built the trust, and you both know that you're looking to find common ground, but actually you are mindful of each person's welfare, you potentially can come out with a much better result than splitting the difference, which is something that I've certainly been taught and doesn't necessarily work, especially if you take an example from my background, where I used to negotiate with a big grocery retailer, Tesco. They came in with an incredible number and said, you have to hit it. And if we'd split the difference, we would have been way further up nearer their number than the number that we're actually looking for. So don't compromise, don't split the difference. So my summary, top tips: build rapport, build trust, but don't compromise. And if you want to learn more, I have a book, as Amanda mentioned. It's only a mini book, it's about 32 pages. You can whiz through it in an evening. Part of my Recipe for Success series called The Ultimate Guide for Negotiation. It's on Amazon. If you want to get in touch, ask me any questions. I'm on LinkedIn. Please link in with me. That's what I use mostly for social media. And there's my phone and website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. So we're going to switch straight over to Lorraine, because we're starting to run a little bit behind on our time.
Am I on? Okay.
Sorry about that, I was muted. So I was just trying to introduce you to Lorraine, who works for Spectrum as an independent financial advisor. And today she'll be talking about managing your time, which is good since we're already running a little behind. So, you know, do your actions result in an income or a reward? So without further ado, I'll present it over to Lorraine. Thanks, Lorraine.
You're welcome. Can you hear me?
We can.
Great. Okay. Well, my first tip today is time blocking. Look at where you spend your time. Is it productive? Does it generate results? Do these results generate an income or reward for you? Do you find that you juggle different tasks, projects, or responsibilities? Are you spending too much time in reactive rather than proactive mode, answering the phone, responding to emails and messages? You can't find thinking time to look at the bigger picture. Time blocking is basically a time management tool where you can divide your day into blocks of time. You then allocate specific tasks to those blocks of time. The timing of each block will depend on how much time you need to spend on the allocated task. But don't forget to include breaks, lunch, social media time. Put your phone on silent and don't be tempted to answer it unless it is a genuine emergency. Put a response message on your emails along the lines of you're in a meeting and you'll get back to them when you're available. Only check and respond to emails and messages in your allocated time block. You may want to have more than one block a day for this task. You can also include themed days. For example, a day for face-to-face client meetings, a day for Zoom or similar type meetings, webinars, networks, whatever works for your business. Also, doing similar tasks on the same day will help you concentrate on the task in hand. Next tip, goal setting. If we don't have a goal, what are we trying to achieve? Without a plan, what are the chances of achieving that goal? Break your goal into bite-sized chunks or mini goals. For example, if your goal is to earn a certain level of income for the year, calculate how many days you're going to work, remembering to deduct holidays and bank holidays. And also, you might decide you only want to work 3 or 4 days a week. So once you've decided how many days you're going to work during that year, you can then calculate how much income you need to generate each day to achieve your goal. Look at how much income you achieve from your average client, and from there you can calculate how many clients you need to see to achieve your income goal. Remember, not everyone you meet becomes a client, so you need to look at how many people you need to see for every one new client. Then know your customer. What does your average customer look like? Where do they live? What is their income bracket? What job do they do? What does your best client look like? How or where did you find them? What did you do that turned them into a client? And if you aren't sure, you could always ask them why they chose you over somebody else. How or where can you find more people like your best clients? Knowing what they look like and where you found them will help you. Also, where did you find your least profitable client? What do they look like? Allocate your time to the tasks that help you find the best clients. Don't ignore the less profitable ones, but perhaps allocate less time to finding them. Also then, delegate or outsource the tasks that you don't like doing. It will free up your time to do the things that you do like doing, and that bring you an income. We all take too long on the tasks we don't like doing, and are far more likely to get distracted doing those tasks and waste our time on non-productive things like social media. For example, one of my colleagues pays her husband to do her filing, scanning, managing her diary, and making her client appointments while she is out networking or seeing clients. What tasks don't you like? How much will it cost you to pay somebody else to do them for you, freeing up your time to concentrate on the more profitable side of your business? Look at ways to increase your passive income. Perhaps you can offer online training. Can you offer a group session that is ongoing where everyone pays monthly by automatic transfer? Not everyone will make every session, but you will still receive an income. A bit like a gym membership. They make far more money with a membership than if it was pay as you go. In fact, most of the money comes from people who don't actually go to the gym. In my case, I earn commission, and I can choose to take a one-off amount at the beginning or take a small account at the beginning and a bit every year. It makes no difference to the client how I choose to take the income, but by taking a smaller amount up front, I can guarantee that I'll have some income coming in every month. Just think about your business and how passive income could work for you. And thank you for your time. I think I kept within my 5 minutes.
You did. Thank you very much, Lorraine, and you've also helped get us back on track. So that's the end of
I
our.
think I speeded up.
Good job. So that's the end of our first block. So now let's move to the question. We'll have a few questions. We've got about 5 minutes here for questions, and then we'll move on to our second block. So does anybody have any questions? You can either write them in the chat, or in fact, that's probably the easiest way if you write them in the chat. So questions for Sondra, for Karen, or for Lorraine? Okay, let me just take a look at the chat and see if we've got anything from anybody. No questions from anybody?
I'd like to ask a question of Sondra, if I may, actually.
Oh, good. Please ask.
Always interested in free money. You were saying about sponsorship. How does that work if somebody wants to come and do an MBA? Can you unmute?
Sondra, we can't hear you.
There we go.
Good. Yeah, you should hear me now. Yeah. So about 6 years ago, PWN signed a partnership with EDEC, and part of that was to allow anyone who's a PWN member, whether you're a new member or an existing member, it doesn't matter, who is ready to apply to EDEC for the MBA program. You're automatically granted a 20% scholarship off of tuition fees. So tuition fees for the MBA at EDEC are full price are 44,000 euros for the year. But for a qualified master's degree in a top ranked school by the FT, etc. So it's actually quite a competitive price already at EDEC. But the idea is to promote it to women, because we find that fewer women do MBAs. Women also earn less money coming into an MBA. And so we wanted to also reflect the 20% pay gap that we often see between women and men candidates. So the idea was to say, well, if you're earning 20% less, we'll give you 20% off of your MBA, and that will encourage more women to come. And PWN was also a way to support locally women and business women. So you do have to, you have to meet all the criteria like any other candidate, of course. But as soon as your application is accepted, we talk to you about the PWN scholarship. We also have additional scholarships for women in general, so not necessarily PWN members, but we're doing a lot for diversity and health. They're really scholarship. You do get into this selective process, interviews, profiles, etc.
Okay, thank you, Sondra. That is really an excellent opportunity for people, and we're very lucky down here on the Côte d'Azur to have a world-class business school program with a wide range of degrees for people who would like to move in that direction for their careers. So, are there any other questions from anybody, or will we move on to the next block? No? Okay, well, let's move on to the next block then. And I'd like to introduce Gillian Attard and Olga Gibert, who Gillian and Olga are both from Amadeus, who is also one of our corporate partners down here on the Côte d'Azur. They're the largest employer on the Côte d'Azur. And they have been very enthusiastic participants in our mentoring program. And so they're actually going to be doing a role play interview about that, which is a lovely way to talk about our program and what it meant to them personally. So Gillian, Olga, over to you.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. Hi, Olga.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Hi, Gillian.
Hi, Olga. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Sound is working well, and video is working well, so that's nice.
Yes.
I'm so glad that you have accepted to do this exceptional interview with me today about mentoring for this very special event. Because when Amadeus kicked off the PWN program earlier this year, your positive feedback about the mentoring program was a very important driver for me behind my enrollment in the PWN mentoring program.
Well, I am so happy to hear that my feedback was inspiring for you to subscribe to this program, and I'm happy you did it. This is definitely for me was an important, extraordinary experience that I would like to thank once again PWN for this opportunity to have mentors in my life that played a very important role in my life. I had opportunity to apply more than once, and I am very grateful to have this experience. For me, the mentors, they were there not only to work on my goals and objectives that I set for myself professionally and personally, but also to help me to navigate through difficult moments in life and to know better myself and ensure me that I will be all right. Even sometimes moments were like difficult. And as a personal anecdote, when I got pregnant, the first person I talked to was my mentor, because I got a lot of questions to myself, how I'm gonna manage this, and life is very busy, and the working agenda is crazy to manage. And I said, how I will make it all together. And talking to my mentor was very ensuring, like for me, that yes, I can make it. Every woman, we get in this situation and we make it. And having this support from mentor was very important for me. So how is going for you? Are you enjoying your mentoring experience?
Well, to be very honest with you, earlier this year, I'm deciding to be part of the PWN and having a mentor in the middle of a pandemic. I was a bit skeptic, to be very honest with you, but a few months down the road, and here I am accepting to talk about it at this expo. So I say that I'm really enjoying it. I must say that Vanessa, the VP of mentoring, has done a great job matchmaking me with my mentors. And even though I miss the networking with the PWN mentors, meeting them, I do love the fact that every event now from PWN is actually recorded, and I can catch up on any of them when I'm doing my housework or maybe just going out for a walk.
So great. And how is mentoring working for you in this very particular COVID context?
Well, as you can imagine, we had to start all the mentoring sessions in an exceptionally virtual environment. So at first I was really scared of opening up about my fears and my weaknesses to a stranger virtually. So, but immediately after 5 minutes that I met my mentors, all my fear went away, because the mentors really are very professional, but also have really nice human touch. So all my fear was always unfounded. And luckily, I recently also got to meet my mentors face-to-face in a very socially distant face-to-face environment, so with masks and everything. And I must say that I could say that mentoring can be successful both virtually and physically, no matter in which conditions.
Yes, sure. And what is the most rewarding experience in mentoring for you?
I think for me, the biggest reward for my mentoring sessions is the fact that I can see that the objectives I set with my mentors were being met slowly but surely. And to just give you a personal example from my side, one of my biggest fears is meeting and presenting to directors and above. So thanks to an anchoring technique that my mentor taught me, I can now tackle these meetings with much more confidence and show my true value during these meetings, and not waste time stressing about the meeting itself.
Great. And it's indeed a great reward. What would you recommend for people who are interested and would like to know more about this mentoring program?
I think I have two recommendations. The first one is, don't even hesitate for 1 second to get yourself a mentor. I think it's really an amazing experience. And the second one, I would really recommend to listen to the PWN Nice podcast, during which Serena, our podcast host, has recently interviewed Vanessa, the VP of mentoring. And luckily, Vanessa has a bit more than 5 minutes to explain all about mentoring. So, Olga, we're running out of time, I think. Do you maybe have a final message from your side?
Well, from my side, I would say I would share the favorite quote, one of favorite quote I have about mentoring from Oprah Winfrey, who said, a mentor is someone who allows you to see a hope inside yourself. And I really feel it is true. And I would like also that the message I would like to send, that we women actually can support a lot each other, and we can be mentors and mentee to each other without, I mean, in any situation, professional or personal, and we all need support and we all get stronger together.
Thanks, Olga. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. And we're looking forward to your questions in the next breakout session.
Thanks,
Thank
Gillian.
you so much. Thank you so much. That was great. Lovely the way you presented it. So let's move on to Cynthia Malani, who is the director for the Center for Neuro Leadership and Diversity. She's going to be talking about how to rewire your future and the neuroscience of change.
Okay, let's see. Ready? Okay, can you see that?
We can.
We can. All right, good. That's always the first step. Well, welcome, and welcome to this very exciting field of neuroscience. And it's exciting because it changes all the time, and we're discovering constantly new things. And a lot of that is thanks to the magnetic resonancing and different ways that we have of actually looking inside your brain to see which part is lighting up and how Gillian might be different than Olga. And we can now begin to have some clues about what makes that happen. And so what I'm going to do today is choose some of my favorite slides and things that I think are very indicative of what is happening, and then look at some tips that we can use about how you can actually rewire your future and change your brain to win your game. So let's take a look at what that's all about. And really what we are talking about here is neuroplasticity. And that is the ability to be able to, for the brain to be able to change itself, and for you to actually change it by developing new neural highways. Now we have over 1 billion neurons that connect themselves, much like roads do. And just to put that into perspective, that's as if you laid them all out from California all of the way over to London. And paper thin, like they actually are, that's how far they go. And we're constantly making new ones. So one tip is certainly to keep practicing, because it takes thousands of hours to take that from a little path, like a footpath, and turn it into a small road to make it into a highway. So that's why we say practice makes perfect. Now, as these neurons are moving, they are actually very tied in with the neural pathways. They are releasing chemicals that communicate with each other. And those are your neurotransmitters and the hormones that are basically the ones that make up the stories that we tell ourselves. They are our beliefs. They are our words that keep coming. And so the exciting part is that you can actually change that narrative to make it more positive. And as you do, for instance, that if it were in that direction, it would be letting out the serotonin and some of the happy hormones versus a lot of the stress that can come if you are telling yourself negative stories. I'll never make it. It's too hard for me. Can't do it. You probably can't, because your brain is going to direct it in that direction. So let's take a next look at the brain itself. So if you can see me, that's a diagram, but let's take a look at what your brain would look like if we could open it up. As you probably know, it's pretty much the same on both sides. But what's important for us to know is that the part that is at the base, and I'm not sure you can see it too well here, but you have basically 3 key areas that we're going to be looking at today. And we start oftentimes with the basic ganglia because that's the older part. It's near your cerebellum, and it's going to help you when your message to yourself is a negative one or a positive one. It's going to get it to start to run. And the limbic system is your emotional system, and that developed probably a little later in mammals. And here what we are looking at are the amygdala, which is this very important part in the center. And that's where you're going to be getting a lot of the emotions that are your fight and that are your original reactions to things. And it's going to come in working together with the thalamus. It's like at the airport, the control tower, to send you the message. Now, before you can go up to the later part that developed, the neocortex, that's your thinking part and your logic. But guess what? Because we are geared for negative, it is going to probably get blocked there. And you can begin to get what we call let's go down to this next one, an amygdala hijack. Now, this was coined by Daniel Goleman, whom we know, many of us, for his thoughts on emotional intelligence. And you can think about it as an angry brain. And this is another one of my favorite slides that I would like to share with you. And what is behind this one is the fact that since it is such a primitive brain, all it wants to know is there something out there that is going to eat me or that I eat it? Is there something that I need to kill or will kill me? Is that a snake under the bush? What is negative? Is this person thinking badly about me? Everything is about surviving. So what happens is that when it takes something in, the information goes immediately to that center part and begins to get into if we don't quickly use our logic system, we'll get a hijack. And the logic center, rather than going up to our logic center, we start to get our emotions going. Adrenaline, testosterone, we're under attack, and attack them before they say something bad about me. Or the amygdala is larger also in people who tend to have a lot of negative different thoughts. And not only that, but your body at the same time is pumping all of this really nasty stuff to the body in terms, if it gets too much of it, which is the cortisol. Now, it's good in small amounts because that keeps us on the alert, but too much of it can lead to disease. It's not good on our brains, on our memories, but mainly if we're still in our hijack, it'll take us 20 minutes, usually minimum, to even get out of that. It's connected to our vagus nerve, the longest nerve in the body, going from the brain to the stomach. So when we get a gut feeling, yeah, we do. And so we want that vagus nerve to calm down. And we have a lot of tips. We know, like we say, take deep breaths, meditate, mindfulness. Those are pretty classic. And so I'm not going to spend too much time on those in 5 minutes. So what we're going to look at is a model that one of the gurus that I'd like to introduce you to from neuroleadership, David Rock, has a SCARF model, what they call the SCARF model, and it's using the same principle. He said, basically, we're in a state of either going towards or against. Towards being something that is favorable, and against is a threat, clearly. And so he has divided this into the following terminology, and it makes a model for us, because what he means here by the first one is status. What we're looking at is status looks at the relative importance of people. It's one of the most important ones. How do we fit in to our tribe? How do we fit into the group? It's hierarchy. It changes with different cultures, but we want to be very careful ourselves to remind ourselves, sometimes especially as women, I'm valuable. And if you are a leader, because we're going to look at this for individuals and for leaders, if you're a leader, how are you valuing your people? Are you using active listening? Do you care? What do we do to promote people, to make them feel a part? And the second one we're going to look at is...
So Cynthia, I'm sorry to cut you off because you've got so much great information there, but I think you said that you would be able to put it onto the web, you'd be able to give us this presentation and put it onto the website.
There's the answer. Here's where we're going with this. I'll wrap it up.
Thank
in
you.
the tips.
Sorry for that. Sorry to.
That was the last one. That was the last page. Yeah, it was done. I know I can go on, but nope, that's it. So looking at them again, by the certainty is know where you are, where you stand. Autonomy is about making your own choices, deciding where you want to work from, where other people, letting other people make their choices. If you're the leader here, relatedness, it's not about inviting people to the party, it's about asking them to speak. So letting them belong. Fairness is respect for yourselves and others. And I think that we can see that during this virus time, we've got things like we've moved from the Me Too to Black Lives Matter. All of these come together. And so those are my 5 tips that are coming from the SCARF model that is based on basically how our brain works.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that you managed to squish it down, because I know you have so much
information. 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. I do appreciate that, Noen. So let's move on to Carmen Bilk, who is the owner of a commercial photography studio down here in the Côte d'Azur. And she's going to talk to us and show us a presentation about freshening up our visuals.
There you go. Thanks. Once upon a time, you could go to a networking event, and if you were really cool and charming, you knew you were going to get Googled. But it seems like overnight we've shifted from being on-site people to online people. I'm getting requests. I've been photographing an occupation that I thought for sure is one that you consider face-to-face, therapists. So what are you doing with your online presence to have people click on you rather than scroll online? So I'm going to do speed telling you the things that we can do, hopefully some tips, simple tips that you can do to apply to your online presence today. Okay, let's start. Oops, okay, there you go. Let's start with your graphics. Change your fonts. You know, if your CV, wherever you have documents online, if you've been using a serif font traditional, why don't you switch it for something more modern and fresh, like Calibri? If you're wondering what to do with the text that's on your website, Google font pairs. You will be rewarded with an overwhelming amount of fonts that you can use as titles paired with fonts that you can use in the body of your text. It's kind of like wine, you know, what goes with food. You can change your color. Now, if colors are an integral part of your brand, you may just want to add a color to the palette, or take one color, make it lighter or darker. It'll be fresh, but it doesn't compromise the integrity of your brand. The other way to look at this is if you change all the colors, then that's looked at more as a rebranding experience rather than freshening up your site. Okay, this is where I come in, your images. Do you have pictures? If the answer is no, get some. Studies show that a picture, any picture, even a bad picture, is better than no picture at all. People routinely scroll by profiles, CVs that don't have a picture on them. I personally do not accept LinkedIn requests from people that don't have a profile picture. Okay, so you have some pictures. Can you use them, or is it time to change them? If your current photo is a few years old, you might want to think about it. You definitely want to change your pictures if you've had a major appearance change. For instance, you had a beard, you shaved it off. You changed your hair color, you went from short to long. I had a personal experience where I used this profile picture, and it was only 2 years old, and I was hired by the Barbados Office of Tourism to shoot something in Cannes. I showed up, and she visibly looked startled. And she goes, "You don't look like your picture." I'm like, "It was only 2 years old." Well, yeah, my hair had grown. I didn't think I had aged that much in 2 years. So And the other thing about that is I felt that I had lost a little bit of credibility with her because she didn't get the person that she thought she hired, if you know what I mean. Your old pictures may not be good if you're going after a new target market. It may not resonate with that group. If you are rebranding, I have this woman who now wanted her online persona, she's a coach, to be more light and airy. These were the set of images, and this was a complete set. It wasn't just these. This is what she was using before, which was darker and moodier. It didn't serve her new rebranding purpose. Okay, so those were the images that we may want to change, think about changing. You've got images, okay, we're going to use them, but you don't have enough of them. So what I would say is repurpose some of your images. This is the original, taken in color, but you can put it into black and white. You can also add filters, but be careful about that because it can look a little bit unprofessional. Same image, you can crop it. You can crop it differently, and you can add some text. So there, voila, you have four additional ways to use the one image that you have. Add some video to your site. On my site, when you go to the portfolio page, I have like a grid, but scattered within the grid, I have some videos or some GIFs to kind of catch your attention and hopefully lead your finger to click on it. This is just a sequence of photographs. If you have a tripod, you can take a sequence of photographs, and there are places online where you can upload these things and they'll make a GIF for you. Okay. I think I'm catching up on time here. Which image do you want to use? A few years ago, this site is still active. I posted, and on this site, you can have your image evaluated for multiple purposes, and I selected it for business. To my surprise, the picture that I liked the least was the one that got the highest score in terms of competence, likability, and influence. If you're brave enough to get some honest opinion, back when I used it, I didn't notice any heavy trolling, bad feedback kind of stuff, but you'll get honest feedback. It's free as long as you are willing to give feedback on other people. In conclusion, I think that just a little tweaking can go a long way. My name is Carmen Blake. I picked my picture because I thought it's recent, it's relevant, and hopefully it'll get across to my client that I'm going to bring creativity to their game. I've been doing this for a while. Come December, I'll be celebrating my 30th anniversary as a people photographer. So one of the things I know for sure is that I can help you, even if you're camera shy. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Carmen. That was lovely. I really enjoyed how you had the different examples that we could all look and see. So now we're going on to our next break session where we talk about questions. So there's been a lot of chat in the chat questions about how people wanted to hear more from Cynthia. And I just wanted to let you all know that we have had a whole webinar with Cynthia, and it's been recorded and it's on our PWN website, well, YouTube actually, I think there's a link there. So if you look up, in fact, you can go there direct. If you look up PWN on YouTube, you'll be able to find it and you can watch it. So that will be good for all those people who put that in the chat. So on to any other questions for Carmen, questions for our Amadeus ladies. Remember to unmute yourself if you're asking a question. No questions from anybody? Okay.
I don't have a question. It's Olga speaking. I just wanted to say it's so great to see all of you. I mean, it's it's weird, but it's a long time that we have not really see each other, and it's a pleasure. I just saw Sandra and Carmen, and we are used to see eventually in all PWN events, and it's just excellent to see you. Just wanted to say hi, and it's a pleasure, really. Even if we see you virtually, it's still it's a pleasure to see you all.
Yes, same. It is nice to see everybody, and we hope that soon, relatively,
Yes.
we'll be able to have some socially distanced events again. We're looking forward to that too.
Can I just say something as well before you move on, just very quickly?
Yes.
Just wanted to also say thank you to Gillian for sort of the role play. I thought it was brilliant. And from a mentor point of view, obviously when you've got mentees that are so committed and really embrace the whole program, that's what makes it as well for the mentor, and the mentor gets as much out of it as what the mentee does. I think that was a really good demonstration. And I just also wanted to say Carmen has done all my professional photos so far, and it's really time now to update them, because I did speak to you a couple of weeks ago and I said, really I need to get these updated. This is now not really good, because exactly what you said, that you don't want people to turn up and say, oh, that doesn't look like you.
I'm telling you, the look on her face, she had a physical reaction when she saw me, and I'm like thinking, I don't think I've changed in 2 years. I mean, really, from 2016 to 2018, I didn't think so.
Yeah, so that was really good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, maybe we've all aged a bit this year, so.
If I could add, I am planning on doing something for my 30th anniversary sometime in December, and I'll send it out. It's just a way of saying thank you to everyone who's supported me over all of these years, and I'll put it on the PWN group site when it's more tangible.
Okay, that's great. So any other questions, or will we move on to our next block? No? Okay. So for our next speaker, it's the third of our corporate partners to speak. So welcome to Sophie Bonne from Schneider Electric, who is the Senior VP for their digital plant business down here on the Côte d'Azur. And she's going to be talking about something which is actually quite near and dear to my heart, because I've been involved in this type of thing before, which is creating a corporate women's network, how to do it, how they did it for the Schneider women, especially women in technology. So Sophie, over to you.
Yep. Can you hear me, and can you see the screen I'm trying to share?
We can hear you. We haven't seen the screen yet, but I'm sure it'll come in a few seconds.
Okay, then maybe I'm not using the right. Let me try again. And I have to confess that the picture is a bit old, and I have indeed longer hairs than on the picture. And how do I do that? Anyway, I'll try to put it here. Okay, so thank you for the opportunity. It has been super interesting to be listening to all the other speakers. What I wanted to do in the coming 4 minutes is to share a few tips to create a women's network. Not to suggest that we have found the magic recipe, but just as an experience sharing to get some other kind of point of view. So when I'm talking about our women's network, actually what we did, we have, I do work for a company called Schneider Electric. We are in industry, we develop high-tech solutions, so it's not one of the sectors where the gender diversity ratio is already where we would like it to be. So as many other companies in our sector, we have a challenge to attract more female talents, to develop the ones that we have, and to retain the ones that we have. So one of the many actions that we did is the creation of this Women in Tech network that we call Ambassadrices des Métiers Techniques. That is a pure voluntary network, I would say, in Schneider Electric in France. where we, so a group of women engineers or women technicians, collaborate with some association to try to break the gender stereotype associated to technical careers as early as we can. So we typically go to school, high school, and meet with 13 to 18 years old girls to, well, just to talk about what we do, so that they can see for themselves that it is possible to be a woman embracing a technical career. We started this in 2013, and 2013, end of 2013, 2014, I think was the formal start. And we now have 99, we are looking at the 100 milestone, 99 women ambassadors in the network. And we were very proud that last year we got to meet with about 3,000 girls to talk about what we do. I have to say it's a bit more challenging this year because when the schools were closed, it was not at the top of the agenda of the teachers, but we are hoping to recover. Just to put this into context, I think we are quite lucky that this initiative is happening in parallel to a much broader diversity and inclusion journey in our company. And this has brought at least a psychological safety, I would say, for all of us to feel not only free, but supported to launch such an initiative. And it has probably inspired us to get the idea to see the rest of our company taking a very strong commitment towards gender diversity. So thinking about the 5 tips, you know, what we're thinking about the magic ingredients on what we love about our network, I think the first magic ingredient is that this network is working because we have a purpose, and we have a purpose beyond just meeting each other. So this is not the network for the Schneider woman to meet on a regular basis. We share a common purpose, which is to testify in front of young girls and to break those stereotypes. And because we share this purpose, it's easier to get everybody motivated to come back year after year. So that will be the first magic ingredient. The second is definitely the passion and the enthusiasm of each and every one of the 99 ambassadors. This is something that is a pure voluntary program. It's not part of my work. Everything is on top of our day-to-day activity, but because we share the same enthusiasm for the meaningful purpose, we all share a great passion to be part of this network. And having those passionate ambassadors is definitely something that has been key in building and maintaining this network. The third tip or magic ingredient is really to have partners. We have been partnering for this specific initiative with some associations that are very active already with the French education system, and this is really enabling a lot of things. And in a more general sense, for each initiative that we are driving, the more you partner with others, the more chance of success that you are getting. So this has been really instrumental in the success of this network so far, and it will continue to be instrumental. The first one is, I think it's on the recognition. So I said it's a pure voluntary initiative. Nevertheless, we have a strong endorsement from management, actually both from some senior managers and from the human resource team. And this is really important to have this sponsorship because it's giving more freedom for those women to first tell their managers that they want to be part of it, and they might skip a day of work because they are going to testify in front of a school. And the fact that we get a kind of free card from HR to take an afternoon or a full day it's not even considered a day off, actually. It's a half day or a full day that we can dedicate to something beyond work to contribute to the social environment around the company. So this is really helping a lot that each of our ambassadors is recognized beyond our network. And then to conclude, the final ingredient, I think, is really the fun that we are having as a group. We don't take ourselves too seriously in this initiative. We are keeping it very open and accessible and fun. And it has been so far really a great journey. And while this has started as an initiative to address one issue in the gender balance, which is how do we attract talents? And here it's even how do we convince teenagers that women can be engineers? It has turned, as a side effect, I would say, it has turned into a very powerful network inside the company. And the women that are part of this network recognize each other, and there is a lot of informal mentoring and coaching happening inside this network that is super valuable to develop our women talent and keep them. So beyond the initial purpose of the network, we have many positive side effects of this network for all of us. And well, that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you so much, Sophie. That was really great to hear what you're doing down here in the region. Is your network all over France, or is it just down here in this region that you're doing?
No, it is all over France. It started in the Grenoble area, and we have actually extended it to this region 3 years ago. And it took off pretty quickly, actually. The easy part was to find motivated young women that were happy to participate.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. So let's move on to our Monaco lead, which is Serena Benedetti. And she's got an amazing background on all sorts of interesting things. When she was working in the oil and gas industry, which is also a fairly male-oriented industry, she actually also worked on the side on making her own business. So she's going to be talking about that for us today. So how do you develop a business idea when you're working full-time in a corporation?
Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda, for starting this video. Actually, I'm still working for a big oil and gas company, which is called SBM Offshore, and I'm a quality manager there. And in my spare time, I invented a new product to help women to maximize their self-confidence, and especially in their professional environment. So this product is an undergarment that prevents unpleasant deodorant or sweat stains on clothing. And so in the evening and on the weekend, I spend a lot of time to start to market this product. So if you too have a day job and some business ideas, I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to start a side hustle. So the first thing you might think is, how can I find time to do anything else than my day job? So the good news is that we all have 24 hours a day, so that's possible for anyone. And I think that energy attracts energy. So basically, the more you do, the more you'll find energy to do more. And it's kind of a virtuous cycle that you can be more efficient by doing more things. So then I can give you a couple of tips on how to make more time. And basically, it's to declutter your life. And some simple thing to do is to list all your activities and to try to make 4 different columns. So the first column would be, what can you eliminate totally? The second column would be, what can you delegate or outsource? And the third one would be, what can you automate? And the last one is, what you cannot compromise. So what are the things you have to keep doing? And I give my personal example. So for example, I eliminated watching TVs and reading the news. I outsourced the preparation of my food. And what I cannot compromise is my 8 hours of sleep every night. So that's to give you a bit of an idea. Now you might think, how can you start? So what should you do first? And I think a good way to start a side hustle is to think of a market survey. So no matter what you have in hands right now, even if you have nothing at all, you just have your business ID, you can always start a survey. And the survey is very, very valuable because it can feed you with very valuable information that you didn't have at the moment that you had the ID. So it can really extend your horizons to things that you didn't consider. Even with the same ID, you can move in a slightly different direction and have a lot of let's say, tips from others on how to direct your business. And it's a good time to do it while you're still working, because it's something that takes a lot of time, and it's really good to do it at an early stage where you can kind of finance it with your salary, so that you don't have to pivot later on where it's more difficult to pivot. And so how to do market surveys? So my advice is to do a mind mapping, is that to put your business ID in the center and to think who could be the people that can benefit from this service or this product. So that's basically the first group, which is your potential customers. And the second part is what I call the experts. So the expert could be people who can share some knowledge on the field that you maybe don't know very much, or people who can give you more information on the problem you're trying to solve. So there are really different aspects of doing market survey. And I think it's really good not to think just of one group or the other, but really to focus on the two groups. So you need to get the feedback from these two groups. It could be very different ways. You can make an online survey, you can go and see them, you can call them, email them, get in touch with social media, etc. It's really open. So in my case, what I call the experts will be a vast area of stakeholders. So we have like doctors and also the fashion stylists, a very diverse group. And then for the people who could benefit my product, so I created an online survey, and where I collect information about how people can benefit my product. So if you want to be part of my adventure, I invite you to fill out my survey. It's on my website, akimba.fr, and the survey is in French and English. So I will be very happy to have your feedback. Another tip I'd like to give is listen to podcasts. Podcast is a gold mine of information. Really, if you want to start a project, any entrepreneurship adventure, you definitely need to listen to entrepreneur stories. So on podcasts, you can find podcasts about everything today, and people really share their tips, they share their mistakes, they share their lessons learned. So it's really a gold mine to go faster on your project when you listen to other people's experience. And since you have a day job, you have to commute in the morning and in the evening, so you have plenty of time to listen to podcasts. And my favorite one is How I Built This. So it's Stories of Entrepreneurs. It's an American podcast, but you can definitely find something in your specific field. And best thing is that it's free. So my last message is what would be the most important to sustain in having a day job and a side hustle is that you have to be in love with the process. You should not just focus on the end goal, which is like making your product happen, making more money. You really have to enjoy the journey, because it's all your free time that's going to be used. So you cannot lose your mind or burn out. So really enjoy the journey. And any entrepreneurship journey is a fantastic adventure. So I really recommend you to try it out.
Thank you so much, Serena. So our last speaker is Natalia Ackerland, and she's also from Monaco, Vino Royal. She's the co-founder and director of that company, and she's going to give us a great topic which moves us into our networking part, which is why women prefer wine more than men. So Natalia, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Amanda. Good evening to all the ladies. And I would like to share my screen.
So down the bottom. Scroll down onto the bottom and then push the green button.
Yeah, it's on. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, but there's usually a little delay. There's usually a few seconds delay before it comes up. There should be something that asks you if you can share. There you go, it's coming.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm very happy, as probably everyone else, to see you ladies tonight. And for those who doesn't know me, I've been based in Monaco for the last 7 years, and now I am a co-founder and the director of the Monte Carlo Vino Real, which is a totally new business for me. And if you're wondering why there's no website or any social media links, it is because we are just in the process of launching this company, and that is going to happen probably in late September or October. So just to give you a little bit of my background, my professional background is coming from management consulting and oil trading. Well, you will probably ask, what does that have to do with wine? Well, not that much. And why are we entering this business? So I will tell you the story how it happened. One evening, me and my father, we were sitting in our wine cellar, which is in the French Alps. And I looked at all these wines that my father has been collecting since 10 years. And I told him, Dad, we are never going to drink this up. Let's do something about it. Let's go and start selling this wine. So this is where we are now. And now within 1 year, we are already present in Monaco market, in French Riviera, and we have even managed to enter the Russian market, which is an extremely complicated market. So back to the topic of the day. Amanda actually asked me, Natalia, could you please present the topic, maybe something like how to choose the right wine, something like that. And I thought, well, it's Thursday night, I'm the last speaker, let's do something fun. So why women love wine more than men do? I will give you a little bit of facts. There's 2 billion wine consumers in the world. And according to Nielsen research, wines, it's about 60% of wine purchased by women. Just 1 second. So, and how previously men used to drink wine to represent their freedom, to disregard their responsibilities at home or at work, when women were sitting at home and trying to perform the domestic chores. Drinking wine now has almost become part of the working culture. It has given certain freedom to women. And believe it or not, the rate of drinking wine in women increased 7 times than men. So, women and wine. Why do we love wine so much? Well, it does make us feel beautiful. And for different women, actually, it means different things. But there's definitely an emotional connection of women to wine. And it is very positive compared to other harmful substances, like other stronger alcohol drinks or drugs. Wine is a great companion. We consider wine nowadays as the classiest drink ever. And we do prefer a happy high to extreme drunkenness. So let me give you some more reasons. Why are we so crazy about wine? Well, doctors do recommend wine over any other type of alcohol. Wine is one of the beverages that is very rich in antioxidants, and drinking red wine has been associated with a reduced risk of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases, as well as heart diseases. Wine is mainly the extract of grapes, isn't it? So therefore, you can consider it as a fermented fruit juice, and no fruit is bad for your health. So actually, grapes have high levels of antioxidants, and that has been shown to reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. Here comes my favorite. 1 glass of red wine, it's like hitting 1 hour of the gym work. I really like that. Well, wine is also considered some form of comfort food. I think most of us been there, done that. Wine is very versatile. You can have it for celebration, for a breakup, for a night out, for a night in, and actually for any possible reason. And the last but not the least, you can drink a lot of it without getting drunk. So just to give you a little summary of our company and who we are, we love good wines. We appreciate good wines. However, the idea of our wine company is not to go with the mainstream wines that are already on the market. We don't want to be the same. We don't want to compete with already well-established brands. We want to bring less well-known brands, like undiscovered wine brands from smaller family-owned producers to the market. However, we work with the fantastic wines. For example, 40% of the Prince Albert cellar contains our wines. And also one of our wines that you see here, it's called Sanctus Primus. It was one of the 2 chosen for the Prince Albert and Princess Charlene wedding. So we are very honored about that. Also, we're exclusive supplier of wine to the Royal Falcon Club that owns a unique catamaran boat designed by Porsche. And I'm very happy to have done exclusive contract with them. So I think now, just to finish up, I think ladies, for 1.5 hours, you've been very patient to listen to all of these fantastic presentations. I think we should all go home now and maybe enjoy a glass of wine. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Natalia. Actually, we were discussing just before everybody came on that we should have set all of our speakers and all of our people up. It should have been in the Zoom invitation. By the way, bring your own wine since this is virtual. So yeah, the organizers, we missed an opportunity there to have everybody sitting around having a nice glass of wine at the end of this session. But that being said, we still have a few things to do. So let's talk about if there's any questions, either for Sophie or for Serena or for yourself. And then, yes, we have a bit of time at the end for people to network and chit chat. And anybody who wants to discreetly put their screen on black while they go and pour themselves a glass of wine, you go for it. Okay, so questions, anybody? Let me check the chat. So I think someone asked Serena about the different podcasts that she recommended. So maybe, Serena, when we do the article with everybody's information afterwards, you can put those references in there.
Yeah, sure. I can definitely list a few that are generic, but if you want to get in touch with me and have more recommendations, I'd be happy to try to help you.
Great. And it looks like, Natalia, people are saying we need to have a wine tasting event in Monaco with your wine once we finally are all allowed to see each other again in person.
Yes,
so,
definitely. I will try to organize that. I already was approached by some women before who asked for that, and I think I will even manage to get a place where we can have like sit in the restaurant and have a little wine degustation. So definitely it's planned.
Great. So once we're finally all allowed to see each other in person again, that sounds fun.
Yes.
And then I have another question here about I think this is for Sophie. So is Schneider Electric doing anything for girls in tech internationally, or is it a French only initiative right now?
Well, this initiative is French, but many other countries have their own initiatives. There is no global program, but I have great colleagues spread in many different countries. And so in different form or shapes, I am aware of many of those initiatives in different countries, yes.
Okay. And you actually had a question about that too. I was interested. Are you finding that doing this sort of diversity and inclusion initiative, it's helpful for internally for Schneider, it's helpful to attract people there, but also is it something that your customers are starting to ask for as well? That they're interested to see that in the profile and the brand of the company?
That's a very good question. It's not that obvious yet. Nevertheless, I have to say that when I meet with customer and the customer representative happen to be a woman, that's typically a great topic of discussion. It's a bit rare, if you think about, well, I didn't mention that, but for my division, which is pretty much research and development, I have 18% of women, 1/8. It's the same with consumers, so the chance that when we meet, we have a woman in front of a woman are a bit low right now. But yes, it's starting to emerge as a topic. There is a small trend, still small right now.
Good, good. Okay, thank you. And there's another question here from Vanessa to Anthony, who's on there, and she's asking what male participants think about wine. So Anthony, do you have anything about that, or you to give your opinion on what Natalia had to say? You might be muted. You are muted. Okay, so I think Anthony might be having some trouble unmuting, so let's move on. Does anybody else have any questions? No? Well, if not, basically what we thought we'd just do to end up the meeting, because we have 10 minutes here, is we just will unmute everybody and, you know, network, talk, speak, catch up with each other. It's, you know, as I said, we would love to be able to do this in person where we all get around, we drink Natalia's wonderful wine, and we do the sort of in-person activities that PWN is known for down here on the Côte d'Azur. But, you know, this is COVID, where we're doing what we can to do things for people. So please also don't hesitate to give us feedback on the event. This is the first time that we have done a virtual business expo event. So I'd be interested to hear, you know, feedback on whether people thought it was too short, too long, should we had longer for each presenter, what sort of other information you'd like to get from us. And the other thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to thank the people who worked really hard to put this together, all of the board members, and especially Karen Green, who did a lot of work for us around the communications for the event and getting people enthusiastic and motivated about it. So thank you so much, Karen, for your comment, and thanks to Karen, who originally came up with this idea when we were trying to adapt how to get past this situation with COVID, and to Vanessa as well, who's just given us so much help and support, especially around the website and KMS. And then last but not least, thank you very much for all of our speakers. Have really enjoyed getting to know you all and working with you to prepare these very quick but very valuable presentation to our members. So now I'll be quiet and let you all chat. Carmen, can you take everybody off mute, please?
They are ready.
Okay, oh, and just a last reminder, I should have said this, this is all recorded, so for people who'd like to catch segments again, because I know I made you all move very quickly, you know, don't hesitate to look at it on our YouTube channel. It will be up in a couple of days' time.
Okay. I was just going to say to Natalia that I use that Vivino app for wine. I don't know if you use that or other ones, that maybe other people use that as well. So you can photograph the bottle, you can write down dinner in Antibes with Carmen Blake, a great evening talking about photography, and the wine was like this or like that, and you kind of remember it, and then you can even order it. I don't know if you would recommend a different app, Natalia, but I thought that was
I do use it, yes, as well, yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm actually using it as well, but to be honest, it's not a professional app. It's a bit like a TripAdvisor, so you will find all kinds of people, you know, giving their advices. So it's not by professional sommeliers, but it is a good reference in terms of the price.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So you know you're not overpaying or getting a good value.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yes, but not all of the wines are there. For example, we don't have all of our wines because they're coming from the smaller, like family wine producers. And normally this kind of wines, first of all, you don't even find them in the shops, you know. You just find them either in the vineyards or in the special, it's called like a gastronomic fairs. So these kind of wines we are dealing with.
Anyway, it's free for the, I'm not a professional, so it's good enough for me.
but
exactly.
it's easy. So thanks for your
It's a
comment.
good reference.
Yeah. Okay.
Natalia, do you also have gourmet foods to go with your wines?
I'm sorry?
Do you also have gourmet food, like do things, I don't know, cheeses and chocolates and the sort of things that people might want with wine?
Not yet, but we are thinking about it. And actually, very interestingly, one of our new products that we're gonna bring to the market is gonna be sativa prosecco. So we're gonna bring prosecco with a hemp extract, and we're gonna be the first ones who are gonna work with this product. So let's see. Little by little, we're expanding this market to beverages and to food products.
I just wanted to say thanks. This is a great idea for PWN, and it's lovely to see so many familiar faces that I haven't seen in so long. So bravo to you all for the organization, and really great learning about some great new things tonight.
Well, I'm Beatrice, and I'm relatively new to PWN. So I am a mentor, and I haven't met anyone because in reality, because I started the mentoring program in January or February. So I'm looking forward to an event where we can really meet in person. But thank you very much. That was really good.
So is it going to be February before we can meet? Is that the plan, Vanessa? Any thoughts?
So I had to mute myself because my bells were just going at 7 o'clock and it's deafening.
So, you're so lucky where you live.
I live opposite the church and you can't hear anything at 7 o'clock, so I had to quickly mute. Originally we'd spoke about planning physical events from October. So we had physical events, Monaco, Nice and Sofia, but we're still being very cautious. And as Amanda sort of, when we spoke today, we said, you know, it's a red zone now here.
Oh, Packer had become a black zone.
Oh.
I saw that on yesterday. I didn't even know black zone existed. So that's
worse than red.
Coming out tomorrow, apparently.
Oh, really? Okay, so and we're very limited in numbers. So at the moment, we're still very cautious because the implications of it, are, you know, quite serious. So I think Amanda probably might chip in with us as well. But we, you know, the feedback we've had, people are still getting a lot from their membership and still enjoying a lot of the activities. We're planning lots. We've got lots planned. We've been doing workshops for development, you know, the webinars, the podcast. This is our first expo. And so we're coming up with quite creative and innovative ideas. And we did a poll for members, and the feedback from members really indicated what members want. And so we're addressing that. And I think at the moment, we're probably going to sort of stick with this, you know, sort of sadly. I don't think we're going to actually be able to move into sort of big physical events just for the time being. So it's you know, but we'll react quickly. I think one thing we have done and we will do is react very quickly to change. And if things do change, we'll react very quickly and get things in place. So somebody else on like Calman or Amanda or Karen might sort of have a take on that as well. You know, we're working together as a team to make sure that that you know, people are getting value more than anything for their membership. So.
Yes, please don't hesitate to, you know, reach out to us and get, you know, if you have ideas of things you'd like to see. I mean, we literally just have to be creative about what we can do to give our members valuable interactions in this time of COVID. I hadn't even heard about black, so I don't know what black is, but it certainly doesn't sound good that we're now. It doesn't sound good. It reminds me of the Black Plague. So yeah. I guess we'll be all waving at each other over Zoom for a while yet.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, but I think also I've been talking to a few people who are really starting to struggle with the isolation. I think, you know, a lot of, I don't know about other people, but I've been working from home now probably for about 10 years, but I think I miss that. And I don't know what it is about that social contact of actually being in the same room with another human being, but there's something missing, and I know a lot of people are struggling with that. So I don't know whether there's an option to have, I know in the UK it's like only 6 people gathering, it's not quite so strict here, I think it's 1,000 or something. So but then on the other hand, you know, you've got to keep that social distance. So I'm not sure, but it's it'd be interesting to see if there's opportunities to have small groups or specialist ideas, or Natalia just to turn up at everyone's house. Actually, that would be quite good. Bring your wine here, because actually you may have noticed I'm drinking a glass of wine, and actually we've run out. That's all I've got left. So if you could pop round, it's quite a way. I live right up in the hills in Sipia, but you know, be grateful.
And Karen, the idea of the wedding wine with your picture on.
Yes, absolutely. Oh dear.
Okay. So, and also Serena with the baby wine, celebration baby wine, a picture of the baby on.
Yeah, it's good that we cannot meet in person at the moment, so I don't miss out on the wine events, because I still have a couple of months without possibility to drink wine.
Yes, no, exactly. So, but no, it's and also the, you know, the fact when people do meet physically, everyone's got masks on and everything else, so it's not as comfortable and relaxed as what it should be. So, but you know, we're kind of like on it as a team, and making sure that we're doing the best that we can. So,
yeah.
Okay, but no, it's been great tonight. I think it's been brilliant. It's been so nice. It's run really, really well, and there's some great tips for everyone. Every presentation's been brilliant. So it's sort of a really good model for us to take forward, and hopefully move it into a physical event as well as we go into next year.
Thank you so much, ladies, for organizing this. It's a very cool
Thanks
event.
for including us. Yeah.
And Karen. And Carmen's idea. It was Carmen's idea. So I'm sorry, Carmen. I said it was Amanda's idea. It was Carmen's. So
no problem.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Okay, and have a good evening. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.